At the same time, she was grappling with the emotional fallout of her first marriage to actor Leon Russum. The relationship had been rocky from the start and ended in divorce in 1970. Between the financial stress, loneliness, and heartbreak, Karen found herself drinking more frequently. Ironically, her lack of money limited how much she could indulge. But the habit was becoming increasingly ingrained then. In January 1973, everything changed. Karen heard about an audition for a new TV series. Michael Landon, already a household name as Little Joe, on Bonanza, was casting for a show based on Laura Ingalls Wilder's beloved frontier books. He needed someone to play Caroline Ingalls, the strong, grounded mother at the heart of the story. Karen's agent gave her precise instructions. Wear a plain dress and absolutely no makeup. It was a look completely at odds with early 1970s Hollywood, where tight jeans, midriff tops, heavy eyeliner, and false lashes were the norm. But Landon wanted something different, natural, wholesome, and timeless. Karen scraped together $40, a significant amount for her at the time, and bought a modest wool dress with a turtleneck and flared skirt. She couldn't resist adding just a touch of brown eyeshadow. A small defiance meant to give her eyes a bit of depth. It worked. As soon as she finished her audition scene, Landon leapt off the floor like a spring, shouting, "Send her to wardrobe." Just like that, Karen Grassle had landed the role that would define her career and make her a household name across America. The first season of Little House on the Prairie was filmed in the quiet town of Sonora, California, and for Karen, it felt like a dream finally realized. After years of hardship, she was now part of a show with heart, values, and the potential to move millions. One of the most rewarding aspects of the role was her connection with the young cast. Karen poured her heart into building real relationships with her on-screen daughters, Melissa Gilbert, Melissa Sue Anderson, and twins Lindsay and Sydney Greenbush. She wanted them to feel safe, cared for, and truly bonded with her as their TV mother. Her warmth and dedication helped create a family dynamic that radiated authenticity both on set and on screen. Karen Grassle's bond with Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura, affectionately nicknamed Half Pint by her TV father, was especially meaningful. Melissa looked up to Karen not just as a co-star, but as a mentor and mother figure. Their off-screen connection helped shape some of the most heartfelt and enduring moments in Little House on the Prairie, leaving a legacy of warmth that fans still cherish decades later. As for Michael Landon, Karen's initial impression was one of a wan concern. He wasn't just the star of the show. He was also its creator, executive producer, lead writer, and director. The weight of the production rested almost entirely on his shoulders. Karen saw a man who was talented, driven, and deeply committed to making the show exceptional, but also one who was tightly wound, perfectionistic, and at times emotionally volatile. As Little House gained momentum and became a massive hit, Karen's life shifted dramatically. She began earning between $2,000 and $4,000 a week, more money than she had ever seen in her struggling years as a theater actress. For the first time, she could afford fine dining, upscale cocktail lounges, and a level of comfort that had long been out of reach. But with success came new struggles. Despite her rising fame, Karen was plagued by self-doubt. She became increasingly critical of her performances and overwhelmed by the demanding filming schedule. And right there, just steps from the set, was a fully stocked bar, a dangerous temptation for someone with a history of using alcohol to cope. What poverty had once restrained in New York, prosperity now unleashed. Karen's drinking escalated. She told herself it was just socials, just a way to unwind like everyone else at parties. But unlike others, alcohol affected her more deeply. Her nights often ended in tears, spiraling into feelings of inadequacy and despair that seemed out of place for someone outwardly so successful. One incident stood out as a sobering reminder of how far things had gone. After drinking heavily at the airport, she boarded a plane already intoxicated. When a flight attendant offered her more wine, she accepted. By the time they landed, she had made out with a stranger and agreed to go home with him, an impulsive, risky act that left her shaken and ashamed. As Little House entered its second season, Karen felt confident enough to ask Michael Landon for a raise. She was co-starring in one of the most watched shows in America. She believed her contributions warranted fair compensation. But the meeting didn't go as she'd hoped. Landon flatly rejected her request, offering a justification that felt deeply demeaning. He suggested her salary should be on par with the child actors, as if her experience, talent, and role as the show's maternal anchor were no more valuable than that of a supporting child performer. To make matters worse, he claimed that audiences didn't find her as popular or important as she seemed to think she was. For Karen, who had trained in London, paid her dues on Broadway, and helped build the emotional core of the show, this was a slap in the face. Already struggling with self-worth behind the scenes, the rejection hit her hard. The fallout was swift and painful. Soon Karen began noticing her role being diminished. Scenes were cut, her character was sidelined, and she went from being the emotional heart of the Ingalls family to feeling like a background player. Worse still, Landon began mocking her in front of cast and crew during daily footage, reviews making jokes about her figure and facial expressions, turning her into the punchline for cheap laughs. For someone already battling anxiety, self-doubt, and addiction, this public humiliation was devastating then. The atmosphere on set took an even darker turn. During the filming of intimate bedroom scenes between Charles and Caroline Ingalls, Landon, spurred on by male crew members, would make crude sexual jokes, often using graphic and misogynistic language. He would refer to women using the C word and make demeaning comments about their bodies and sexuality, Karen recalls. Feeling frozen in these moments, shocked, humiliated, and unsure how to respond, she wanted to disappear. But like many women working in Hollywood during the 1970s, she had been conditioned to stay silent, to endure, and to hope it would pass. Speaking out didn't feel like an option. The culture made it clear, if you couldn't handle it, you didn't belong. Despite everything happening behind the scenes, Karen Grassle never let her struggles show on camera, maintained a high level of professionalism, always showing up, learning her lines, and stepping into the role of the ideal pioneer mother. Even while enduring a toxic work environment and feeling invisible on set, she held on to hope that things would improve. That maybe, just maybe, she and Michael Landon could repair their working relationship and recapture the camaraderie they once shared. But as things unraveled on set, her personal life was also spiraling. Karen's drinking, combined with emotional instability, clouded her judgment, especially when it came to relationships. She admits that she was drawn to the wrong kind of men during this period and describes her behavior as increasingly reckless. At one point, while engaged to another man, she began an affair with actor Gil Gerard, who had guest starred on Little House. He would later rise to fame in Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. But at the time, he was just another handsome distraction. The consequences were immediate and frightening. Gerard later contacted Karen to let her know she may have been exposed to gonorrhea. The incident wasn't just a wake-up call about her sexual choices, it was a symptom of a much deeper crisis. Karen was looking for love, safety, and connection, but doing so in all the wrong places. She was, in her own words, desperate, chasing comfort and meaning without any real sense of what she needed. Most of the men she dated were battling demons of their own, fueling a cycle of dysfunction that only intensified her alcohol dependency. What made Karen's situation particularly complex was that she was a high-functioning alcoholic. To the outside world, she seemed composed, successful, and in control. She was a working actress on a hit show, beloved as Ma to millions of viewers, but inside she was unraveling. Many mornings she arrived on set feeling sick, hungover, emotionally drained. Her eyes were bloodshot, her face swollen from drinking the night before. She leaned heavily on the show's hair and makeup team, Larry and Whitey, who became her personal lifeline. Each morning, they transformed her from the broken, exhausted woman who stumbled into the trailer into the glowing, resilient Caroline Ingalls. That ritual became her armor, the thing that helped her face another long day of pretending everything was fine. Few people suspected the truth. The cycle drinking, performing, hiding was exhausting. She longed to drink like others did, socially, casually, without consequence. But alcohol didn't work that way for her. Instead of loosening her up, it amplified everything: her sadness, her insecurities, her pain. More than once, she found herself in tears after drinking, convinced her life was a failure. Even as her career soared, the turning point came in 1977. With the support of a close friend who was also in recovery, Karen finally found the strength to face her addiction head-on. That friend became her anchor, helping her stay accountable and offering unwavering support as she took the difficult first steps towards sobriety. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. That same year brought another major breakthrough. After years of fighting for fair compensation, Karen finally succeeded in her salary negotiations with Michael Landon and NBC. Her income was doubled, a long overdue recognition of her value to the show. Getting sober gave Karen a clearer perspective, not just about her career, but about herself. She came to understand something that had been buried beneath the chaos all along. What she truly wanted in life wasn't fame or applause. It was stability. It was family. The very things her character Caroline Ingalls represented. She realized she didn't just play Caroline. She longed to be her someone, grounded by love, anchored by a home, surrounded by people who truly cared. For years, drinking had been Karen Grassle's way of avoiding the deeper truths. Her longing for stability, her fears of inadequacy, and the pain she'd buried under layers of performance and perfectionism. But sobriety marked a turning point, not just in her personal life, but in her professional relationships as well. As she began to heal, something unexpected happened. Her relationship with Michael Landon began to improve. With the bitterness of salary disputes behind them and Karen's renewed clarity, much of the tension between them began to dissolve. She could now see more clearly the immense pressure Landon had carried as the creative force behind the show. The director, the star, and the person responsible for its success. They found a more collaborative rhythm, and their working relationship slowly mended. With stability returning to her life, Karen began to expand her creative horizons. In 1978, she wrote and starred in the television movie Battered, a powerful drama that tackled the then taboo subject of domestic violence. It was a bold move, one that proved she wasn't afraid to confront uncomfortable realities and use her platform to speak for those without a voice. Karen Grassle didn't stop there. She became a passionate advocate for women's rights, channeling her own experiences with harassment, inequality, and hardship into activism. Her work gave her a new purpose, one rooted in truth and justice. Among the causes closest to her heart was reproductive freedom. Her advocacy is deeply personal. In her late 20s and early 30s, Karen had 2 abortions, decisions that were difficult but necessary for her at the time. The first she had to undergo in secret, traveling across the border to Mexico before Roe v. Wade legalized abortion in the U.S. in 1973. The trauma of that experience never left her. Karen's stance is clear and unwavering. Reproductive choice is not a political issue, it's a human one. She believes every woman deserves the right to make decisions about her own body, and no one should be criminalized for doing so, no matter the reason. In 1985, she welcomed her son, Zachary Radford, a long-awaited and joyful chapter in her story. Becoming a mother gave her a deeper understanding of the complexity and beauty of the choices women face. Today, Karen Grassle still lives in California, the same state where her journey began all those years ago. But she is not the same woman. She is a survivor. A woman who turned pain into purpose and struggle into strength. From her early days as a lost young actress, to the nation's beloved TV mom, and finally, to a fierce advocate for women's rights, her story is one of resilience, redemption, and remarkable transformation. She reminds us that it's never too late to speak your truth, to heal, and to fight for what matters. So what do you think of Karen Grassle's journey now that you know what really happened behind the scenes? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories.